Hey everybody, this is Darren. The date is, cheers, have some coffee. The date is Saturday, September, what is it, 5th? Saturday, September 5th, 2020 at 5:22 p.m. a.m. p.m. Pacific Mountain Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time in the year of our Lord, my friend, and that's good coffee. You make that coffee? So just turn the camera on here just for documentation's sake, for educational purposes. So what I've done here is I'm getting into watercolor. So I bought this 140-pound watercolor. This is a cold press watercolor paper, which means there's texture to it. There's texture to the paper. But I actually bought hot press as well. But I kind of like the cold press. The hot press has no texture. And what I've done here is I've drawn Ariel here, Little Mermaid. I drew this 6 years ago when I was doing a tattoo apprenticeship. The reason why I did Ariels is because I had to be able to just sit there and draw stuff on the couch, because the guy giving me apprentice made me draw for 4 hours a day, so I had to draw things that I knew I could draw without reference. Drawings that I could build away from a drawing table without reference, basically. So I drew a bunch of Disney shit, basically. That's why I did all this stuff, and I knew that well, people like this stuff. Anyways, there's a lot of reasons why I did that. But anyways, I don't normally draw cartoons. But anyways, so I've revisited this drawing because I wanted to get into watercolor. So what I done here last week, this is a watercolor test. Basically, I did the hair, the fire red hair, and then I did this sort of blue background here with the, what you do here is you take a straw and you sort of blow on it and it spreads the watercolor about, which is a really nice effect. And again, these are my first watercolors, basically, that I bought, basically. And here basically I bought 3 watercolor things. I bought this from the dollar store. This cost me $2 or whatever. And then I went to the art store and I got a proper kit. I think this was $7. This one, which was nice. And then when I knew I was liking watercolor, then I really bought a good kit at Omar Dessert. This one cost me about $20 or whatever. But this is a nice watercolor kit. So now I know I like watercolor. So but basically the things I don't like about watercolor was when I did her skin, it made her look like she was a burn victim, and there's nothing wrong with being a burn victim, but Ariel is definitely not a burn victim, basically. But you get this nice effect here with the straw again. So basically, I've gone and redrawn Ariel again. I've done the same components here, but I'm going to airbrush her skin in, so it's nice and a nice even heel. And what I've done here is I basically made a mask, basically with tracing paper, as you can see. And then I've took a razor blade and I cut around. I blocked out everything but her skin, basically. And what I intend to do is airbrush the skin tone to Ariel. The technique I use to make masks is I get the tracing paper. Again, this video is for educational purposes and documentation. This is a spray adhesive. So you basically take a sheet of what I do is take a sheet of tracing paper, basically. This is from this is high quality tracing paper from the art store, but you can use anything. You can even just use paper, or you can get tracing paper from the dollar store because it's way cheaper. This is expensive, so it's not necessary. And then what you do is you go outside and you take your spray adhesive and you give a gentle even coat on the back of the tracing paper, and then you put it here, and then you take your razor blade and you gingerly slice around area and then peel off what you want exposed and what you want blocked off, and then you discard it and throw it in the trash, basically. And it doesn't destroy the drawing, basically, because it's a nice little fine film. But a good idea to do once you have the once I have sprayed a layer of for educational purposes, a layer of fine spray adhesive, put it like on a piece of paper and get a lot of the tack and gunk on it, because the tack and gunk might be here, and it is here because I put too much on it. But I let it dry overnight, and when I put airbrush tint over it, it will basically make for a, it'll be sealed underneath the layer of skin tone, and it creates a texture. So, you know, there's no fuck-ups, it's just little happy accidents. But as I say, because there's spray adhesive gunk on it, once it's cured underneath the layer of skin tone which I'm going to apply, it will make more texture, which is going to be nice, because when you go to put pencil over later, texture helps you grab pencil basically. For example, if I wanted to put white highlights over her skin, if there was no texture on the paper and I wanted to put white, there's nothing to grab. There's no texture to grab the white, so the white isn't as dominant or I don't know what the word is. I don't know. Anyways, so here we go. What I've done here is I got this Van Gogh Naples Yellow Red skin tone watercolor from the dollar store. This is my first tube of watercolor. I bought a skin tone because I didn't feel like mixing it, and I've gone and I've mixed it in a dollar store Tupperware here, basically, with water to make it water, basically, because it's a little thick, and if you put it through the airbrush, it's going to be, if it's too thick, it's going to get clogged, basically, in the airbrush, and you don't want that. Well, I don't want that. So basically, I've gone and taken my airbrush out of storage, basically. This is an airbrush that was bought to me for my birthday back in 2007 by Electra the Succubus. If you don't know Electra the Succubus, it's not a big deal, but Electra the Succubus bought me this $250 airbrush for my birthday in 2007 or 8. Actually it was 2008. Yeah, it was 2008, because that's when I started drawing again. And the compressor cord goes down to the airbrush cord, which houses the air, goes down to a compressor, which my buddy Big J gave to me. I went to art school with Big J. He gave me the compressor, basically, when we were 20 years old, basically, a long time ago. So thanks, Big J, if you're seeing this video. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, I can't really show this, this is awkward here, so I'm going to basically load up the airbrush by mopping up, this is like a little mop, so you mop up, what I do is I mop up the water skin tone, and I basically go like that. That's how I load my airbrush, basically. A little trick I learned from the master Drew Struzan, basically. But for this video, I'm not going to do that because I'm just going to load it in like this, basically, because we're on a time budget. I have my compressor wrapped in my blanket, basically, my comforter, basically, so you don't have to hear the noise, because it makes a little bit of noise, not too much, but a little bit. So I got my airbrush loaded here, as you can see, and another thing is to be noted that I have to wear these reading glasses here now because I'm basically an old man and my eyes don't focus anymore, which is kind of a pain in the ass when you get old. So young people, that's what you have to look forward to, among other problems as you get older. So I'm going to test the consistency of the spray, see where we're at here, just as a starting point. Again, airbrush courtesy of Electra the Succubus. It's very, very watery, so we're going to take it down. We're going to do a very, very light spray. And what I like to do, this is very, very watery. What I like to do, but it doesn't really matter, this is just a video documentation. What I like to do is very, very, very fine films, and then back away for a minute or two, let it dry, then come back and do the second layer so it doesn't run, basically. But basically, yeah, so we want to avoid the burn victim look, basically, is what we want. So we're going to do an even coat, but we might, in the end, blend the airbrush with this kind of technique with an actual brush, because I do like it at the bottom, just not on her face. And I'm actually curious to know what's going to happen because I am spraying over a layer of gunked adhesive. I'm just wondering if that's going to disallow me from, like, if the gunked adhesive is going to be a border between, like a wall between the paper. You know, so watercolor soaks into the paper, but now there's basically a layer of gunk over it, so I'm wondering if that's going to be a problem. Like it's sealed, you know, which I don't want. Also, I'm not really a fan of airbrush texture 100% because it has sort of a for certain things. Because I like sort of the especially in today's climate with Photoshop, it's too perfect. So I like when I do my drawings, I like to let the viewer know that this is handmade, or a person that might be interested in artwork. It's not. See, the problem is I gotta take a step back and let this fucking dry here, so that's a problem. It is watercolor. So it's looking okay. This looks okay too, but again I got the burn victim. So, but this is a first test run, anyways. It doesn't even really matter. I'm basically going through a period in my artwork where I'm just care about education. So I'm trying all kinds of things. What I mean by that is every day I have my art budget. So every day I go and make my money, and I'll have my art budget is $20 or whatever. It has been for the last month. So I'll go buy a new component, which, you know, like for example, one day I'll buy a box of markers from a pack of markers from the pharmacy. The next day I'll buy I don't know, a different kind of paper, and my budget is $20 a day. So I've been doing that for about a month now. So just because I just want to learn now, because I've been very, very stale for years and not growing, you know. Well, my waistline's been growing, but that's an